We haven't been able to ask you about Terry Wilson in a long time, so how's Terry Wilson?
Good, progressing. You know, the doctors and the trainers they love where he's at right now, and so we're excited about. He had a little time there where it was just kind of flat and it was hard, and he had to push through some things. And now he just looks a ton better. His attitude, and I think it's the soreness and just getting all that atrophy and all that stuff out of there. So he's doing really well.
I know you've only been here or been with these guys, a couple of these guys, for a day really. But how do you feel better about the quarterback room right now?
Yeah, we're completing footballs, we're out there, we're throwing, our receivers are catching it, and it was fun to see, kind of back to a little bit more base offense, and on the first day it's hard to tell, but it sure was fun, a lot of energy, and really excited about it. But that group, we get some guys that can sling it, and they're swimming, but they should be on the first day.
How are you last year to all those guys, especially with Joey's eligibility coming up here?
Well, we've got a lot of opportunities to really work the twos and the threes. So we've got more people than we've ever had on our roster at this point right now. So the ones, it's a pretty solid group. They've been here before, so we can really get some extra reps of those twos and threes and give them an opportunity to develop. So that's how we're doing it.
Last year's experience of dealing with the wide receiver situation unique to anything you've been through?
It's the most unique thing I've been through, yes, sir. And their unselfishness and just being humble and doing what they had to do to win, and that's what they did. And now we went out there today, and they're catching a lot of balls, and so it was fun to see them getting some of the action.
New attitude now.
It is a new attitude. They've been that's a group that right now, I'm trying not to say a ton about it right now, but what I've seen in the off-season conditioning, their leadership, how they've responded to everything, and has been absolutely fantastic. What I saw today was a great start, but everything that we talked about was consistency, and we need great consistency out of that group in leadership, and so far it's been that way.
Mark said you had to go back to September of last year to get cut-ups just to see kind of what they've been able to put on film. I know Terry can't do 7-on-7, 11-on-11, but can he at least get one-on-ones just to get those guys more reps?
Yeah, routes on air and stuff like that. So he's throwing, getting his timing down and all that. So he's able to do that and possibly progress a little bit more as we get back from spring break. We'll see where he's at and where they assess him. It's going to be kind of a progress for him to see how he goes. By the time he gets to the summer, hopefully he'll be able to go and ready to go.
Is Josh Ali, is he more, have you all moved him inside?
He was all over today. He was kind of our Lynn, He's playing X, he's playing Z, he's in 12 personnel, he's in 11, he's in 10, and he's inside, he's outside, and right now that's what we're doing with him. We're moving Cleveland around a little bit too, and Daly. Those three are kind of the guys that right now we feel like in this offense they can be anyone.
How big is Josh's bowl performance maybe in terms of giving him some minutes into the offseason and going into that?
Yeah, I think confidence. The one thing about Josh, you never had to worry about that guy working. He works his tail off, and I used an example the other day that you can control one thing, and that's your attitude, and you can control how hard you work every day. You either get worse or you get better every day. And so Josh was one of those guys that tried to get better every day. He'd run 7 posts and know he wouldn't be getting the ball, and he'd run it fast because he knew he had to take the top off to get an under route or something that was available to us in our offense conceptually. And so I think he knows where we were at that time in September of last year. We had our first 2 games, 8 different receivers caught the ball, and so they know what our offense is. So I think they're excited about the new movement, if you will.
It seemed like AJ had options. He could grad transfer or maybe went to the draft. What was that like, that conversation, him coming back?
We talked about it just a couple times, but them as a family, they decided early and decided this is where he wanted to be. So that was really good for the program. I think it's really good for AJ as well.
How do you guys see the battle of left guard shaping up?
Just that guard position, it's going to be a battle, Is it going to be Horsey? Is it going to be Dotson? Is it going to be, we're going to take a tackle, we're going to move him inside. And so Coach Larman's going to move all guys around all spring long like he always has. You might see Darian inside a guard. You might see, what I mean? We're gonna play with that, and this is the time to do it. So it's going to be fun to see those guys compete for that spot.
Eddie, when you and going back to a base offense, but were there things that you learned when you changed the offense to fit Lynn that you can apply to what you're going back to doing? I guess what I'm trying to ask, I didn't do that very well.
So, when we went and we watched cut-ups, we had 2 separate cut-ups. We had the first part of the season, the last part of the season, and then we used everything that we had in fall camp, because that's basically who we were and who we thought we were. So we kind of looked at that, and then what we did in the second half of the season, what can we pull from here to add to here?
Did you find a lot?
Absolutely. Yeah, it can be really good. And again, it just depends on who's the quarterback. It all comes down to personnel. So we'll just see how that goes and how it develops, and might not even know it until after 29 days of fall practice. As a matter of fact, I think that's when we're going to know it.
You take a cue from Mark in terms of being skittish about the Wildcat thing.
What you mean?
Yesterday he was non-committal with this, but he said last year that people wanted to shoot him last year. The Wildcat.
When we did Wildcat?
Yeah, when you talk about the Wildcat.
Till it worked.
Yeah. There is something to that. People have, a lot of it was, this game's about execution. If we would have done a couple things really nice, you ought to say, yeah, keep running Wildcat. And is it going to be just out the door? No. We're going to get better at what we do, but is it going to be a staple in our offense? I don't think so.
In your room, you bring back 3 guys who played a lot, but also have 2 more talented guys. How do you kind of try to work them in at all, or at least keep them from getting discouraged, because there's 3 dudes that got a lot of carries last year?
Well, I think you've got 3, like you said, that have had a lot of reps. I talked to him today about you're not going to get very many, early. So when you go and you better compete, because they're competing for a job. It's a great opportunity to try to develop 2 young guys in Travis and in Juton. So I want to throw them into the mix and the fire. I know what those guys can do, but the times that they get in there, they better do it well, because they're fighting. I could pick any 3 of them on one day and say you're the starter, and that's a great problem to have.
Terry,
Last question,
we
Tom.
talked to you since spring signing day. What do you all envision for Michael Brennan when he gets here in the summer and the fall in terms of his role and his position? What you like about him?
You start out at wide receiver. He could be that guy. That could be Lynn. You could have what we call the posse personnel, or could be a version of Wildcat. We could do some things with him from what we learned, that he could be that guy, depending on obviously where he is mentally. And that's the biggest thing with these guys. That's one thing that we always talked about. Lynn was so smart. Lynn understood it fast, and so and then it's going to be, can he read, back there and do the things that Lynn did? We'll find out. We're certainly going to find out and see if he can do that. So that'll be a fun little package to have as well.
All right, thank you.